Welcome to the Little Brain Campaign. I'm Dr. Lauren LaRose, a child and adolescent psychiatrist.
And I'm Jessica Eisenstadt, a licensed professional counselor.
We're here to be straight with you about children's mental health.
And we're not afraid to challenge the trends that are out there about anything related to kids.
And we're not afraid to challenge each other either.
If you're looking to be validated from two moms that are in the trenches, you're in the right spot.
Yep, no fluff here. Just some honest conversation with a side of sarcasm.
Let's get into it.
Jessica, hello.
Hi.
How are you feeling?
I'm a little tired.
Okay, well, drink that coffee.
Yeah.
Wake up.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to talk about something that both of us feel pretty passionate about,
Yeah.
I would say.
I agree.
So this is kind of like a combo topic. Part of it is like suspensions and expulsions in children.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about preschool, elementary school age kids. And then part of it is kids who have disabilities, especially like mental health conditions and behavioral issues, and how they slip through the cracks in the education system, and there really isn't a good place for them to go.
Yeah. I think like the main, I don't know, like topic I want to cover is like, why is it like, are we seeing more kids diagnosed? Like, is the diagnosis more prevalent? Meaning like autism, big behaviors, things like that. Like, what am I trying to say? I'm so tired.
I think I know what you're trying to say. Like this, well, we know that the diagnosis this is being diagnosed more.
Yeah,
but the question is
it's
why?
a problem. But like, why? Like, there seems to be like an uptick in behavioral issues in schools today.
Right.
So I want to know like why.
Right.
And when kids are asked to leave or whatever, like there's nowhere for them to go. But there used to be, like here there are two schools. You said,
what do you mean, alternative schools?
not like an actual alternative school, but like a school equipped to, I don't want to call the schools out.
But are you I mean, they're traditionally called alternative schools, right? Where kids go if they get expelled from a public school, they go
But that's public. I'm not talking about public.
Oh,
Thank
you're talking
you.
about
Get
Okay.
there.
Sorry.
Like
You're
I know. Trust me, I've been in those alternative schools. It's bullshit.
Yeah. Okay, you're talking about
Fucking
private schools
Yeah,
here,
parochial,
or whatever.
They're two.
The ones that typically take these kids. I don't know. Are there even two?
I mean, I'm going with like what you're being weird. Like you told me there were two. Like it.
Oh, yeah. But
why
I feel
are
like,
we not on
but
the
I
same?
feel
Like it's taken us.
I know,
right
but
now.
I feel like both of those are even becoming less tolerant of these kids over time.
No, you're right, but you like they don't even have capacity,
right?
So it's like, why is there no capacity? Like there used to be capacity.
Yeah.
Why is there no capacity now?
Right.
And like, I don't know, I'm tired.
Girl, you drank too much yesterday.
I know. I was about to say it's game.
Okay, so
I have an example. I'm trying to get
ahead.
myself like with it.
Go.
Okay, so I have a client who was admitted into like a popular, I would say, private school. He like couple delays, behaviors, whatever. Admitted into the school though. And it's September, like what is it, the 22nd, 23rd of September?
So we're like a month into school.
Into school. And he was asked to leave. And so it's like, well, where is he going to go now? Like,
yes,
he's in kindergarten, so it's not like he's in like fourth grade or something. But like, what are you supposed to do?
Okay, so here's okay, yeah. All right, let's go. So one of the things that motivated me to want to do this podcast or do something was that I think it was 8. It's either 7 or 8, but I'm pretty sure it was 8 children, elementary and preschool age children, expelled from schools last year out of my clients. Okay, which is a pretty high number.
What's the age range?
Like 5 to 10.
Mm.
Okay. Young
Mhm.
kids, right?
Yeah.
And one of the last client that it happened to in last school year, I was so fed up by that point of seeing this like constantly
Mhm.
that I talked to the school counselors and
Oh, yeah, I
I
remember
kind
that.
of let them have it because
Mhm.
I was like, y'all don't understand. Like, you expel this child and you don't even think twice about it because you don't ever have to see them again, right? You
Mhm.
don't have to see the kid, you don't have to see the family.
Mhm.
I have to see that family and that child after, and you have fucked up this family. Okay. You expelling this child is so harmful to the child and the family because a lot of times these families don't have anywhere else to go. Because once you're expelled, who the fuck is going to let you in their school when you say, oh, my 5-year-old just got expelled from school? I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
Mhm.
And so like these schools just like don't even think about that. And literally when I said that, they were like, oh wow, we hadn't thought about that. I'm like, no shit, you haven't thought about it. Like, otherwise you wouldn't be doing this to a fucking
But
child.
also, like, what were the grounds for expulsion?
Ridiculousness. Completely
I
ridiculous.
know, but what was it?
I mean, I'm not going to say specifically because HIPAA, but
You
like,
can say a behavior.
well,
You didn't call.
let me just say this. All 8 of the ones that happened last school year were for things that the kids said or did that the adults thought was offensive.
Okay.
Okay. And I was like, I'm sorry. Is this child born knowing how to be politically correct? Because I didn't know that that was a thing. That like when
Right.
we're born, we already know what is offensive, what's not offensive, and what's politically correct and what's not politically correct. I'm pretty sure that that's something that we learn from adults.
Mhm.
And you, the adults in the school, are supposed to be educating children. Like, that's kind of your job, right?
Mhm.
And part of that education is teaching them, like, you know, moral values and how to treat other people kindly and empathy and all that kind of stuff. Okay. And so it's just like, it was like example after example after example of adults reading adult interpretations into kids' behavior
Mhm.
that is so fucking inappropriate. And instead of like making it like a learning opportunity, you know, and being like, okay, we're going to teach this child why that why that remark or that behavior offends people, they expel them.
Mhm. So they don't even get to learn.
And so then, and not only do they not get to learn
Learn
but
about
like,
that. Is what I
right.
mean.
Not
Yeah.
only do they get to learn about that, but what is the message
Yeah.
you send a kid when you expel them? It's like, you're beyond help.
Mhm.
We can't help you. You don't have a place here.
But they also don't understand. They're like, what do you like? They don't understand why they got expelled.
Yeah, and then they don't explain. Right, so there is no lesson learned. No lesson is learned. It's putting the family into like a totally unnecessary amount of stress. Causing a lot of times for, you know, causing a lot of anxiety and sadness for parents and the child. That's just unnecessary. And then parents are scrambling in the middle of a school year when most of these parents fucking work. They have jobs.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out where to put this kid.
I mean, yeah.
Oh, it makes me so fucking angry. It makes me so angry. I can't stand it. Like, in my opinion, no child, and I'm not talking about a teenager in high school. I'm talking about a elementary preschool age child should ever be suspended or expelled. I think it is so fucking inappropriate.
What do you do though? Like, okay, let's say it's a bigger behavior or like it's so frequent that it takes it takes away the ability of the teacher to teach, or you know what I mean? Like, what if the behavior is so frequent, like it's every 3 minutes? Like, then what?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the problem. Is like, I don't know what the appropriate alternative is, but I do know that an out of school suspension and an expulsion do nothing good for that child. Nothing.
So, but this is like when it goes back to what I was asking. It's like, was this happening 20 years ago? Like, were there behaviors like this? Like, is it a tolerance thing? Is it a academic expectation thing? Is it like a, I don't know. It's like,
I think it's like a perfect storm.
Mm.
I think it's like a perfect storm of, I mean, you can roll your eyes when I say this, but I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I think it's a perfect storm of like, you know, the shit we're feeding our kids is
Oh, God.
is worse and worse and worse and full of
No.
chemicals and crap.
20
and-
years ago? No. It was worse 20 years ago.
What do you mean?
Like, it was worse 20 years ago. There, like, the options were less. There was less education about, like, it doesn't matter where you are in America.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any social media, whatever, app thing, something's going to pop up about something, wellness, health, gut, sugar, whatever. 20 years ago, no. It was like proximity and commercials, like feeding. I don't know.
Okay. Well, I would recommend reading a little into it because, I mean, literally the food that we now, do we have good food available to us? Yes, we do have good, healthy organic options available to us.
Mm-hmm.
But it is also fact that a large proportion of what we eat is full of scary fucking chemicals, preservatives, that the pesticides that are being used, you know, over time, that's going to like accumulate biologically, right? Like, because it's like sinking into the ground. And so then it's like more and more organisms are eating that up. And then the bigger ones are eating that and it's so on, you know. I can't remember what that's called. Anyway. Okay. So, you know, we're being exposed to all these fucked up chemicals over time. Okay. So it's fucking with our brain, with kids' brains. And expectations at school are going up and up and up and up and up and becoming more and more realistic. And
Realistic?
unrealistic.
Okay.
Unrealistic.
Okay.
And there's all this, you know, increased awareness about mental health issues, which is great on one hand, but on the other hand, it allows us to slap a lot of labels on kids, right? And sometimes for better and sometimes for worse. I think it's like all of that combined is now we're seeing all these problem behaviors and this like inability to tolerate it and help these kids in schools.
I don't know. Like I just think about, I mean, maybe because there's so many schools here. Like I grew up and I mean, there just like weren't
that many.
No, I mean, I feel like I could count. I mean, there were a lot of schools, but like 10 maybe, like popular, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just like don't understand like where and when did so many kids become or have like some sort of learning disability or developmental delay or ADHD or whatever. And like they are unable to stay in like a general ed school system, private school system.
Yeah. So I think one of the problems with our system in New Orleans is since we have so many schools, these schools have kind of gotten into the habit of being like, oh, well, this is not our problem. Someone else can deal with it, you know, because there's 400 other schools here. So they just kick them out, you know, not thinking like, well, actually, there might not be a school that can handle that child, you know? So, and we've talked about this before, but like just to explain to people what our school system looks like, because it's not
typical.
It's not typical at all. We have charter schools, and also just to complicate it even further, there's one system in Orleans Parish that is different than Jefferson Parish, but this is all in the greater New Orleans area.
And St. Bernard.
And
okay, let's map you out, like our region.
Yeah.
So
it's confusing.
Like people think of New Orleans and they just think about like New Orleans. But really, New Orleans means Jefferson Parish, which is a neighboring like county, I will say. Because I feel like no one says parish.
Right.
And then you have St. Bernard Parish, which like borders on Orleans as well, like on the south and whatever. So you have 3 parishes
plus Orleans
and Orleans. Yeah. So 3 parishes that are one huge like kind of region that serves 3 parishes, but they're all very different.
They're all very different.
So like Jefferson is public school, kind of like the like typical, like you go where your
Yes.
zip code is. Like
Correct.
very typical.
Yes.
Orleans now has charter with a lottery, meaning like you like once a year or whatever, you go on an app and you rate like 8 like schools that you want your kid to go to. And then you just get what you get.
But then also some of them you have to test in.
Small,
Even if you,
but that's
yes.
like 3
Yes.
schools that you have to do it's called one app. And then if you get that school that you want, that is selective charter.
Yeah.
You also have to test in.
Just to complicate it even further.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then you have ISAS schools, which stands for
Independent Schools of the American Southwest, I want to say.
Yep, I think that's right. Which are like kind of like your typical private. They may have a religion affiliated, but it's not Catholic, right?
No.
No.
No. That's wrong.
Oh, that's wrong.
Yeah. So those are independent schools. Some are no religion associated whatsoever.
Right.
Some are Catholic. Some are Episcopalian.
Oh,
But
that's
the
it.
Catholic ones that are ISAS schools are they're
Also-
acknowledged by the archdiocese, but they are not under the governance of the archdiocese. They have their own governance.
But is that? I feel like that's just one school.
No.
Oh, it's not. Who else is ISAS?
Sacred Heart and Stuart Hall.
Oh, but those are the only 2.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Those are the outliers.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, it's all boys, all girls.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then there's parochial schools.
Oh yeah, and then there's parochial schools, which are Catholic only.
Yeah, so those
right?
are private schools that are generally associated with a church.
But
They're
it's
in a
Catholic,
church
right?
parish, and they're Catholic. Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
Catholic.
And then you have, and I don't even know if this is like part of it. It's like like, are there, like you think about like Saint Therese? What's another one?
Yes,
What's
that's true.
another one?
St. Michael's.
Yep, Saint Michael's, Saint Therese. Is there one more?
There's one called Chartwell that is like
but that's
yes,
different.
so there are a few schools that are
Forgot about
designed
Chartwell.
specifically for kids with
higher
disabilities
needs, yeah.
or higher needs. Yes.
Yeah.
And then there's also a few random schools that are not in any of these systems that are very small. Like there's like a few little random Montessori schools around.
Okay.
Like there's like a Cathedral Montessori.
Yeah.
There's
But
one
like
called
what grade is
Bauhaus.
that?
They're usually little kids. It's like
Yeah.
preschool, elementary.
Yeah.
The nature school. Like there's a few other little random
Like
small
Waldorf?
schools. Yeah. That kind of don't. They're in like their own little
It's like they're
category. So
Anyways,
there's way too many.
But I mean,
fucking
it's like
schools.
probably hundreds. I mean,
It's
maybe. I mean, but no, there probably is like
Yeah.
100.
and it is unbelievably overwhelming
Yeah.
for parents, especially parents who are not from here and don't understand it because it is so unusual, and parents who have a kid that doesn't fit into any of these little boxes.
And like, listen, I'm gonna use. I've used my son. He's an X24 weeker. Like, obviously, he's delayed. Sweetest little thing, speech delay. I mean, he's has an exceptionality of developmental delay. He's in pre-K 3, so like we'll see how it kind of manifests. But
Right.
like right now, he's at an ISAS, and like we'll see. Like it's really like we'll see if he academically can like keep up or even understand. Like
Yeah.
we don't know yet. So if he doesn't, and like I'm well informed, like I worked in SPED.
Yeah.
So like I unfortunately like know exactly what to do and who to talk to and whatever.
Yeah.
Most families don't have that. So, okay, let's say Jessica, look, like he just needs more than we can give. Okay, so where the fuck, like, so then I'm like, okay, maybe St. Benilde. Oh, they don't have any seats. Oh, maybe like he probably wouldn't qualify for like I don't know that his needs are. I don't think he at this point would qualify for like a St. Therese.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep,
It's like
yep.
you're not like sick is not the right word. Like you're not
needs are not
your
high
needs
enough.
are not high enough,
Yeah.
but they're too
too
high for
Yep.
what this region offers.
And we
so
have
then it's what the fuck do you do?
And we have so many kids fall in that category.
So many.
So many.
And that's my question is like why do we have so many? like we didn't. I don't remember. I mean, like you. Okay, you're perfect because you grew up here.
Yeah.
Like growing up, like did you like know people or have friends or whatever who either had kids or you were friends with kids who like whose needs
Yeah.
were higher than
Yes, 100%. And I
at the
think
same like quantity that it is now?
I don't know. It's like hard for
I
me to like
know, 'cause
remember
you were a
from like a
kid.
kid's
I know.
perspective, But I
Should
will
ask your mom.
say, I think that I do think that like schools were more tolerant when I was growing up. Like there were more
But what were the needs? Do you
places
remember?
for those kids. I mean, and like the other thing is like we didn't have the same terminology then that we do now. Like there were a lot
Okay.
of kids who probably now we would call high functioning autism, but like
Mhm.
they didn't have a label at all when we were growing up. It was just like
But high functioning, like was it so were those kids like behavior issues? Because usually it's not like an academic.
right. It was probably like social emotional challenges,
It's just like weird. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like kind of the
Yeah.
weirdos.
Yeah.
But like the weirdo, but that
There was
you're not getting kicked out for being a weirdo. Like a school can
Yeah.
like handle, you know what I mean?
to a certain extent, yes.
That I mean, this isn't right, but like when we were growing up, it was very, I don't know, like the lunch table shit. It's like, oh, these are the jocks, these are the smarties, these are the tech, these are the whatever, and like you kind of fell into wherever you fell, and it wasn't. No one was like dissecting where you were, like and it's like there wasn't like now. I feel, and maybe because the class sizes are so small, because there are so many schools, it's like you have 20 kids in the grade, and you're like the risk is higher to be seen if you're different because class size is so small.
Yeah.
So if you don't jive with whatever 19 other kids are like, then you're under a microscope and they're, it's like, okay, well, what, go get an eval, why,
Right.
anyways, but go on.
Yeah, so I honestly don't know. I don't know if it was like were schools just more tolerant at the time? Was it that these
But kids weren't like hitting, like kindergartners like weren't like running around the classroom when the other kids weren't, or like throwing books or breaking pencils or biting, like hitting people, hitting adults, actively refusing instruction. Were they?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know
I don't
if
remember.
like was the school culture different and better able to manage those behaviors in the classroom and like extinguish them early, and so they didn't escalate? Was it that? Was it that like
learning was different? I mean,
learning was
let's be
different. I
real.
don't know.
Class
I really
size was
don't know.
bigger. Like I probably had 20 something kids in my class in kindergarten. Like,
Yeah.
did you?
I have no
I feel
idea.
like-
I'll have to ask my mom.
I feel
don't
like Sacred
know.
Heart is a pretty normal size. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
I mean, I did get held back in first grade, and so now I'm like wondering. I mean, I wasn't a behavior issue, but I guess like academically, I was low.
Whatever. I was held back in kindergarten.
Yeah. But like, I just like I think about kindergarten now, and when I go into like a non-Montessori,
Montessori.
y'all, I
We
went to the
know.
Saints game. I'm hungover. as shit.
We know what you
A
mean.
non-Montessori classroom, like a more
Right.
traditional classroom,
Right.
where it's kindergartners. That's obviously behaviors are going to be seen more because
Mhm.
it's the expectation is to be silent. Now, if you put that, like maybe the kid that I'm there for, you put that kid in a Montessori based learning environment, you'd be all right.
Yeah.
Like there is or are, I have one school in particular that I'm thinking about that is very close to Montessori.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
Oh.
Oh, maybe not.
Oh,
I don't
what did
know.
you? Oh, no.
Okay. I don't know.
Sick.
I don't know which one you're
Fine.
talking about. I don't know. Oh, okay. Yeah, got it.
Yep. So Montessori means like student led, usually like a multi-grade. So like
Yeah.
K1, 2. And you kind of think about it like it's a big classroom. They're like centers kind of, and they may have like the kids may have like a checklist of like, here's all the stuff you got to get done. It could be like a visual picture or whatever. And it's their responsibility to like go like through each center and check. And then the teachers would be at like a little kidney table and would call like 3 or 4 kids up every so often to do like EL, like spelling or whatever it is. So it's like you get that really intimate instruction. And some kids thrive.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking of 3 right now that would thrive in that environment. And I don't know that they would be as big of a behavioral issue if they were in an environment like that.
But then, ironically,
Mm-hmm.
I have a very large percentage of my preschool boy referrals are from that school that you're talking about.
Preschool, but that's like that's not.
No.
Pre-K 4?
Preschool in the
Which
I guess I'm calling it preschool because that's preschool in other schools, but it's in
you're
their
getting
school,
referrals.
Oh yeah.
Well, we can talk. I mean,
yeah, we can talk about that
offline.
Yeah.
But wait, no. But what is is there like a theme kind of?
It's like ADHD presentation boy.
But is it like impulsive? Like they're hitting?
Impulsive. You know,
but that's what I'm saying. It's okay.
Whatever.
Okay, so this is a great example. Okay, so a kid with ADHD, I don't think it's a good fit.
Right.
All the time. Maybe it can't.
Montessori is not a good
fit. Because it's so independent and like just unstructured. Distractibility is high.
Yeah.
Like that's not. That kid may need a more structured traditional school learning environment. But you have the level 1, level 2, maybe like level 3, but functioning enough. ASD, autism spectrum disorder, thrive in a Montessori.
Yeah.
You know, because they need to move, because maybe they need to make noises. Maybe they like get overstimulated by like this group learning experience.
Yeah.
Like I have a kid not loving that traditional setting. They took a break. He went straight to a puzzle, silent, did that, like, you know what I mean? It's just like.
It can allow them to like hyper focus.
Yeah.
You know,
like detail orient. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I wonder, like, maybe that is why I'm seeing more of these like ASD big behavior things, because for some reason, those kids are in traditional settings. And so they're like popping up more, like the behaviors are seen more.
Right.
And if they like weren't, or they were more of a Montessori based. Anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. Like this is a question that I kind of mull over a lot. Like, why is this happening? Why are we seeing this more? And like you and I have both said, like, since I started practicing, I'm like literally seeing this in real time increase the rate.
Yeah.
And it's noticeable and it's significant.
Yeah.
And concerning. I mean, because it's just like, you know, I think schools just don't think about like
they're also just like not equipped. This is also a problem because of why there are too many schools. Because there are so many schools, they're so like limited in resources and like staff.
Yeah.
Like if you have,
they're all competing for the same pool of staff.
But like it's like you can't get a damn teacher.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know. Anyways, yeah, keep going.
Yeah. They're all stretched thin.
Like I look back at right when I started my private, I still contracted with a Montessori school. I did like two days a week over there, and like I was the SPED counselor, you know, so like all of the kids I saw had exceptionalities, usually like whatever at that time, like developmental delay or autism, and like the behaviors were big. But like, it's fine.
You managed it.
I mean, I didn't manage it, but like the school managed it.
Yes.
And because they have to, because it's state fund, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like and I wonder if it's different in public. You know what I mean?
Like
charter,
traditional public school.
Tolerance, like a public
because they have to. Well,
like you know what I mean?
Unless you have public school systems that have an alternative school attached to it,
which
most
they
of them do. You know, so like
Berman,
that's
Martin. What's John Martin? That was the one in Jeff Parrish, I think, back in the day.
Martin Berman.
No, John Martin was an alternative school. It was off Jeff
Oh,
Highway.
I don't even know if Jefferson has an
That
alternative
it used
school
to
now.
be. I had 2 kids. Anyways, but go ahead.
So like I worked in one in my training. We had to work in the alternative school in St. Bernard Parish.
What was it called? What was it called?
What was it called? I'm not gonna Rowley.
Oh.
Rowley School.
Mm.
And it's like a traditional, like they have schools that kids are zoned for. Like you go to
Yeah.
whatever school is in your
Yeah.
district, and if you get
Flashing.
expelled, you go to the alternative school. But
Mhm.
there's like a program there, like that
Yeah.
gets you back to the regular school. It's like
because that's
you
the
do
goal.
the XYZ whatever and go back. You
Did
know?
it work? Was it like a functional alternative school? I've
For
never
some
seen a
kids, yes, and for
functional.
some kids, no.
But like, was
um,
the system like? Did it run efficiently?
They were pretty efficient. I will say efficient, yes.
And
They
like,
were
did they
efficient.
try?
There were some people there that tried really hard.
Okay.
I didn't love a lot of it was very technology based learning,
Yep.
which I did not love.
Yep.
It was like online. Everybody was doing like an online education thing,
Yep.
and there were teachers there, and some of the teachers were like very dedicated and committed and like
Yeah.
really, really tried, and some did not. So there were parts about it I didn't love. I will say they were like an efficient machine. I mean, they ran super efficiently. I mean, it was a great school.
Yeah.
All in all. But that works for some kids and for some kids it doesn't. You know, some kids like really need like the hands-on
Yeah.
learning and they didn't get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think those kind of systems, if you get the right teachers who really care and love their job and like really want to help, then they can like get those kids on a good track.
Mhm.
But it takes some very dedicated teachers.
You see my shoe?
Yeah, it's right there. You're literally touching it with your foot. Okay. But you know, those kind of teachers are
Few and far between.
few and far between. And okay, so going back to your point about like these schools being stretched thin.
Mm-hmm.
I think since they're so stretched thin and they're chronically understaffed,
Yeah.
right? That means that they don't have the time or the energy to, you know, when a kid is having big problem behaviors, the school doesn't have the time and the energy to like dig down and figure out what's going on and figure out how to help them. They just don't, you know, like they don't even have the time to ask questions. There were so many kids that I saw last school year that were suspended and expelled, and no adult had asked them a question about why they did what they did. Not one fucking adult asked the child, why did you do that? Not one. They just slapped a punishment on them. And these are like 7 and 8 year old children who like don't, most of the time, like they know what the fuck they're doing. You know, like if they blurt out some offensive thing, the majority of the time they don't know what they're saying. They might know that it like ruffles feathers, but they don't really understand why it's offensive.
Or implication.
And like, it just, like the kids would come into my office and I was the first person to ask them why they did that. Or, you know, and most of the time they'd be like, I don't know. I saw it in a movie and they didn't even know what it was, you know? Or like I have a kid who's high functioning autism and in a like very traditional structured parochial school. And it's a big school and he has some, you know, he has some problem behaviors. Like he has a lot of behaviors that are associated with autism. That like we know this is like autistic behavior. You know, like he says things that, you know, kind of offend people or piss people off. He kind of just blurts them out without thinking. He like stems in class. So he like does these like, you know, little movements or like makes noises and stuff.
Like
he makes
I'm
a lot
stemming
of, like,
right now.
Inappropriate noises.
Stemming.
He aggravates other kids. He aggravates teachers, whatever.
God, I wonder what's
And I'll tell you that later. And I talked to the school counselor.
Who doesn't do shit?
I mean, and
That's
like in one
why are they
sense,
even in there?
in one sense, I was like, I feel for you because you have way too much on your plate. Like you have way too many students to take care of, way too many. But because of that, you are not able to have empathy for this child. and understand where they're coming. Like I had to like educate her on that's because of his autism. That's why he's doing that. And he cannot
But
help
she
it.
doesn't know. But like, why?
And she was kind of like, oh yeah, I see your point. And I'm like, oh my God.
Also,
they
like-
were looking at his behavior as if it was like this volitional, like he was purposely trying to piss people off. And I was like, he cannot help it. This is his neurobiology. Like, and if he is learning and other people are learning, like, can we just fucking let it go? And like, he's, he has made
Give
it to a
him a
traditional classroom.
But also, like, yeah, I don't know who this is, what class, what school, whatever. Okay, she's overwhelmed. She has too many kids. But also, you should have like a priority. Like, there should be priority kids, and like kids who have higher needs should have a plan in place. So, like, if the behavior is incongruent with the school values or school culture or whatever, then you work with the kid and the teachers and support staff, whatever, on replacement behaviors or interventions when this happens. Or is it during, like, I don't know, like an academic time that is like rigorous? Or is it, I don't know, but like they're not, yes, is like impulse control as it relates to like calling out or whatever. Like can it be a symptom of autism? Yes. And it's usually like there's a function still though.
Right.
It's like, am I overwhelmed? Am I bored? Am I confused?
Right.
Is this person sitting next to me too close to me? It's like that kid just didn't have the ability to like grab an appropriate word to latch on to the other behavior or whatever that he doesn't anyways, but yeah.
And so like, that's the problem is that like, no one is like digging down to figure out like, why are these behaviors happening? Yeah. Because when you know why, then you know how to help the kid, right? Yeah. If you can figure out the root of the behavior, then you know how to intervene.
Correct.
No one's asking questions. No one's digging down. They just
charter
slap
schools,
a punishment.
I mean, so charter schools do like, yes, do charter.
Well,
a lot of them do.
All.
Well, not all schools, not all, and it's never all.
No,
but like a lot. They're doing a better job than.
I would say maybe the traditional charter schools, yes. The ones that are more selective, no. Because they don't have to. Because I feel like they don't have to.
But they're not kicking. They can't kick.
Oh, yes, they can. I had one who was.
Whatever. I'm just saying, like.
I know, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like the schools who have the ability to like to select out kids, whether it's like through testing or whatever, they also then feel like they don't have to deal with.
I mean, anything. I know, but I have kids in schools similar or probably the same school who have big behaviors and they're like he has a plan and I don't know. Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, I had one that was expelled from there and it was like straight up autism.
Older though?
Middle school.
Yeah. See this one. Maybe that's it though. It's like when they're young.
There's more tolerance.
Yep. And so when it gets, that's exactly right, actually. Yeah. All right. They're telling us to wrap up.
Well,
might as well talk about more later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks for hanging out with us today. Hopefully you know you're not alone and we're all in the trenches together.
We're always here, so reach out and let us know what's driving you nuts. We got you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the Little Brain Campaign on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
Questions or topics you want us to tackle? Hit us up on all of our socials at the Little Brain Campaign. Keep trucking. You got this. We'll see you next week.
This podcast is for informational purposes only. Remember, no one size fits all. Always consult a professional for personalized advice.